Materials of the same masses requires a different quantity of heat to change their temperature to the same level. The quantity of heat needed to change the temperature of a unit mass of material by 1 degree Celsius is known as specific heat capacity of that material. Specific heat capacity depends on the type of the material. In this topic, you will learn more about the specific heat capacity, the concept of calorimetry, and the specific heat capacity of water. Hi everyone, welcome to Study with Akshay, and this is Akshay. As I have told, these are the concepts we will be learning in this video. Before getting started, if you have not subscribed to my channel, please do subscribe and hit on the bell icon to get regular notification. If you have not watched the previous chapter videos, they have already been uploaded on my channel. Please go back, watch those videos, and then come back to this. Let's get started. The first concept for the day is heat. Heat is basically a form of energy. The kinetic energy due to the random motion of the molecules of a substance is known as the heat energy. Each body possesses heat energy in the form of its internal kinetic energy. Right, let me display the same on the screen. Go through it and make a note of it. If you are done with the concept of heat, then comes the concept of calorimetry. The measurement of the quantity of heat is called the calorimetry. The measurement of quantity of heat is called the calorimetry. Since physics is a volatile subject, you have to write it down as well as listen it. After calorimetry, we have temperature. The average internal kinetic energy of the molecules of the substance is the measure of the temperature of the substance. For two bodies in contact, heat flows from a body of higher temperature to a body of lower temperature. It is the temperature which determines the direction of flow of heat. The last 2 points under temperature are very important. It's a conceptual based idea. Moving ahead further with units of heat. SI unit of heat is joules because heat is a form of energy, as I have told in the beginning. The other units of heat are calories and kilocalories. 1 calorie is equal to 4.186 joules. For all other numerical purpose, we will take it as 4.2 joules approximating. What is the meaning of calorie? A calorie is the heat energy required to raise the temperature of 1 gram of water through 1 degree Celsius. Similar way, if they ask define joules in terms of heat, a joule is the heat energy required to raise a temperature of 1 kg of water through 1 Kelvin or 1 degree Celsius also you can take in that case. Since all are in SI units, you will just change the unit, not the meaning behind it. Measurement of heat. The amount of heat gained by the body is directly proportional to the mass. Amount of heat gained by the body is directly proportional to the mass. So, delta Q is directly proportional to M. I will be saying a code over here where you can memorize that code so that by default you will be able to understand how is the measurement of heat taking place and what are the factors affecting the heat energy measured. Next factor or next condition on which the measurement of heat depends is the amount of heat energy gained by the body depends on the rise in the temperature. Delta Q is directly proportional to delta T. where delta T is the temperature, delta Q is the heat energy gained. Next, the quantity of heat energy absorbed depends upon the nature of the substance of the body. Delta Q is directly proportional to Cm delta T. Okay, here there must be a change. Instead of is equal to, you just ignore the is equal to sign and assume directly proportional to Cm delta T. Where in this case C is the constant of proportionality, which is also called as specific heat capacity of the substance. Now we came to know a new word called specific heat capacity of a substance. Point to be noted. And as I have told, I will be giving you a code word to remember all these 3 points. In the first one, it depends upon the mass, that is M. Second one, it depends upon the temperature, that is T. And in the third case, it depends upon the nature, that is N. Okay. So in the short form, MNT or MTN, you can take a note of it, MTN. MTN is the code word. Just like MTR, this is also MTN. Instead of R, replace it by N. That's it. Next concept is heat capacity. First, always any concept is carried over first by definition, then by what it is denoted. If there is any formula, yes, formula will be written and SI units will be written. So first, as I have told, definition. The quantity of heat required to raise the temperature of the body by 1 degree Celsius or 1 Kelvin is called the heat capacity. It is the quantity of heat required to raise the temperature of the body by 1 degree Celsius or 1 Kelvin is called heat capacity. It is denoted by C prime. We call this as C prime. Many of them pronounce it wrongly as C dash. No, this is not C dash. This is called as C prime, which is the symbol for heat capacity. Next we have a formula. Heat capacity is delta Q by delta T. What is this delta Q? It is the heat energy required, and delta T is nothing but the temperature. Temperature change is nothing but delta T. So we know delta Q, that is heat. Heat SI unit is joules, and whereas temperature can be measured both in Celsius as well as Kelvin. So SI units can be joules per Kelvin or joules per degree Celsius. Both are acceptable, but most of the cases we use joules per Kelvin as the standard unit. Next concepts given is specific heat capacity. It is basically the quantity of heat required to raise a temperature of unit mass of a substance. I am stressing on the word unit mass of the substance by 1 degree Celsius or 1 Kelvin is called specific heat capacity. What is the only change? Unit mass of the substance. Your specific heat capacity is dependent on the mass of the substance, whereas heat capacity is independent of mass. So this is one of the difference between them. You can note down the definition, which is displayed on the screen now. So as I have denoted heat capacity as C prime, what will be the specific heat capacity? Specific heat capacity will nothing but be C. Small letter C is nothing but specific heat capacity. So here it is nothing but, you can see what will be the formula. You can only predict over here, because it is nothing but the same definition as the heat capacity itself. What is the formula of heat capacity? Delta Q by delta T, right? But per unit mass. Okay, temperature of unit mass they have given. No, unit mass means divided by the mass, right? So the definition or the SI unit will be joules per kg per Kelvin. It should be. Okay, this is completely divided by kg into Kelvin. It is. Don't take it as separately. Joules per kg into Kelvin. No, it's joules per kg per Kelvin. Right? Clear with the specific heat capacity? I assume it is clear. And moving ahead further with calorimeter. Okay, this is quite a lengthier concept and this is the quite interesting concept as well. So calorimeter is basically a cylindrical vessel which is used to measure the amount of heat gained or lost by the body when it is mixed with the other body. So it's basically a cylindrical vessel. I have not displayed the picture of it in my PPT or in the slide screen which you can see, just because the picture is not being asked in the examination. Even though in some textbooks behind they would have asked you questions based on calorimeter, numericals based on it is asked, but nowhere diagram is expected. It is not an expected diagram, so I have not mentioned it. Definition is mentioned on the screen. You can make a note of it. What is a calorimeter? This is the definition of calorimeter. Next, how is the appearance of a calorimeter? It is made up of a thin copper sheet. Why it is made up of a thin copper sheet? Okay, that is a give reason question. Now it is made up of a thin copper sheet. That is fine. But few of them will ask, why is it made up of a thin copper sheet? Being a physics student, even we need to understand why it is made up of a thin copper sheet. Let's see why it is made up of a thin copper sheet. Each points now what I list out is all because of calorimeter is made up of a thin copper sheet. Copper is a good conductor of heat. Copper has low specific heat capacity. The outer and the inner surface of the vessel are polished so as to reduce the loss of heat due to radiation. This point will become even more clear once we take up the chapter of radioactivity. Under the chapter of radioactivity, we have why copper is used to reduce the radiation, amount of radiation. Heat is also a form of energy, right? So energy should not be reduced over here. So copper is used so that the energy is not reduced in the form of radiations. For insulation, it is placed inside a wooden jacket. For insulation, it is placed inside a wooden jacket. The space between the calorimeter and the jacket is filled with a poor conductor such as wool to avoid less heat due to conduction. So here one is radiation, conduction, and one more term we will be coming just in the next point known as convection. Radiation, conduction, convection will be explained even more further in depth in radioactivity chapter. So just you remember few key points over here. In conduction, the space between the calorimeter and the jacket is filled with a poor conductor such as wool to avoid the loss of heat. Next one, it is covered with a wooden lid to avoid the loss of heat due to convection. As I have told, this is also one more term. Radiation, conduction, convection are the few radioactive terms only we can say. These terms deals only with radioactive substances. So once we come to the radioactivity chapter, we will deal these concepts. It is covered by a wooden lid to avoid the loss of heat due to convection. Stirrer and thermometer are inserted inside through two holes of a wooden lid. Okay, so this is the instrumental setup, and why copper is used if they ask, you can write the first 4 points of this PPT. Remaining all, I don't feel it's much more important, so rather no need to write the remaining points. First 4 points, if they ask, they will ask it for 2 marks. Write 4 points for the safer side. Right. Next, coming to the most important topic, that is principle of calorimetry. Principles of calorimetry. So first point under that, when a hot body is mixed or is kept in contact with a cold body, the heat energy is passed from hot body to a cold body till both the bodies attain same temperature. So one practical scenario, when you take an ice cube and keep it in your hand for some time, it keeps on melting. Why does it melt? Because it is absorbing the heat energy from the surrounding. Surrounding is your hand. It is absorbing the heat energy from your hand. So since it is absorbing the heat energy, it is melting. So what is making it to melt? The heat energy absorbed by the surrounding, right? So in the other way around, from the ice point of view, it is giving away the energy which it has. There is an exchange of energy between them. So hot body is our hand and the cold body is the ice. So it melts until it attains a stable condition, that is water. Until it becomes water, it melts, right? So this is what is the meaning of it. Another practical scenario is that when you take a bucket filled with water, hot water, when you keep your finger inside it and keep it for 2 minutes and then lift it back, you will feel your hand has become hot. For what reason? The heat which is present in the hot water is transferred into your hand or your fingers. As a result, your hand has absorbed the heat energy liberated by the body. Body here refers to the bucket filled with hot water. If no heat energy is exchanged with the surrounding, that is, if the system is fully insulated, then if there is no heat energy lost from the surrounding, then the heat energy lost by the hot body should be equal to the heat energy gained by the cold body. This statement is very important, because heat energy lost by the hot body is equal to heat energy gained by the cold body. This statement should be written wherever you attempt the questions of calorimetry. Right? This is like a Bhagavad Gita for calorimetry. So this is the statement which is very important. If you just start solving calorimetry numericals, we have numericals based on this topic, which is given in the textbook backside, and even in the example part it is given. Wherever you see over there, the right way of approach is, first you will write, by using the principle of calorimetry, heat energy lost by the hot body is equal to the heat energy gained by the cold body. This statement will be written, and then you will write the calorimetric equation, which I will be saying in another 1 minute. I will be saying what is that equation. You can see that. For two bodies A and B in contact, the temperature, you can see I have displayed it so that you can make your analysis based on the lines. For two bodies A and B in contact, and at the temperatures TA and TB respectively, such that TA is greater than TB. So in the condition where you have to apply the principle of calorimetry, and all the situations where you will be solving the numericals, either the temperature A will be greater than B or B will be greater than A. Any one of the temperature will be greater, so that it will make you solve the calorimetric problems, which is, most of them say it is difficult, but it's the easiest one, where in case you understand it, you solve it. That's it. We have to use principle of calorimetry in the form of equation, that is MaCa Ta minus T equals MbCb T minus Tb. We have the formula of, I think so, that is specific heat capacity, or you can take it as under the measurement of heat only. Calorimetry is nothing but measurement of heat itself, right? Under the measurement of heat, we have our third point, that is it depends upon the nature of the substance. Over there we have derived delta Q is equal to Cm delta T, isn't it? So Cm delta T is nothing but Ta minus T, and here T minus Tb are the delta T values. So this is the formula which is used irrespective of the substance given, irrespective of the question given. Only this is the only formula which is used for solving calorimetric numericals. So almost we have came to the end of calorimetry topic. Next, moving ahead with the advantages of high specific heat capacity of water. High specific heat capacity of water. Formation of land breeze and sea breeze. They will ask, this is for sure a direct question, where they will ask advantages of heat capacity of water. The explanation is given in the textbook, which you can write it in your own words, so I don't need to explain it. If in case they ask, just you read that as a storybook and go write it whatever you have understood. One thing you have to write by this is because due to the high specific heat capacity of water. If you write the term of the question will be asked in such a way that formation of land breeze and sea breeze, uh, or they might ask, give a reason why land breeze and sea breeze are formed. This is due to the high specific heat capacity of water. This statement fetches you 1 mark if the question is asked for 1 mark, 2 marks if the question is asked for 2 marks, or 3 marks if the question is asked for 3 marks also. This is the only key point they will see. High specific heat capacity of water is written in the answer paper, then it's completely correct. Don't write cock and bull story just because they have asked for 3 marks. You have to expand and write it, not required. High specific heat capacity of water. Only the thing is whether you know where this example comes in your textbook. That's it. Next, when we use water in hot bags for fermentation purpose, because it will keep us warm for a longer period of time. Nowadays, during cold season, we will use this. We will put water in hot bags and we will keep it so that we can keep it for a long time, and then when we feel cold, we will take it. Why is it so? Because the high specific capacity of water, high specific heat capacity of water, this is possible. So one for sure question over here is, water kept in hot bag for fermentation purpose is kept warmer for a long period of time. Give reason. They might ask. So in that case, due to the high specific heat capacity of water, this is possible. Water is used as an effective coolant by letting the flow of letting in flow letting it flow in pipe around the heated parts of the machine, says that the radiation of car. So for an example, if the engine is completely radiated and when you open the bonnet, you feel the smokes coming out of it. So what we use water as a effective coolant over there, so that it absorbs the heat energy which is liberated by the engine, right? So why is this happening? Why only water is used in that place? Because of high specific heat capacity of water. In colder countries, wines and juice bottles are kept under water to avoid freezing. Why is it so? Because water has high specific heat capacity. These are the only concepts which we are going to learn in this unit of the chapter. Moving ahead further with the next unit, change in phase and the latent heat. Over there we have some more interesting topics which we will be learning in the next video. Thank you. Stay home, stay safe.